What's up, everyone? It's Greg-tastic here. It's been 2 years and 7 months since you've seen this fantastic, beautiful face on YouTube, but that's okay because I'm back today. I'm a little nervous because it has been that long and I wasn't that great at making videos even back then. But I'm back and ready to make a video. I want to talk about something video game related, like a little nostalgic story that I had to tell. It's a story that I always think about from time to time, and I always wanted to make a video for on the channel, but I never did. And I'm trying to get back into things and make videos, and I am trying to be active and make more videos and get back into the whole YouTube thing because I kind of miss it. Um, the one thing is like when I did it the first time, I was getting a lot of views for the PC stuff, which I still am very into, but I did want this to be like a gaming channel when I started it. So that's the reason why this first video I'm making back is a gaming related video. Anyway, getting into the video, what it's about. Basically, as you could read in the title, the Nintendo 64 launched on September 26, 1996. And I did not get one. I was never expecting to get one. But earlier in the year, I don't remember exactly when, but sometime in 1996, Toys R Us started sending out ads back when I was gonna, wow, I was gonna say back when Toys R Us sent out ads, and now I need to actually change that to back when Toys R Us existed and was sending out ads. But back when Toys R Us was a thing and was sending out ads, they sent out a ad advertising the Nintendo 64. It was like on the back of the advertisement, or maybe the front. Whether it was on the front or the back doesn't matter. But it was just a picture of Nintendo 64 and like 3 screenshots of Super Mario 64. At this time, I did not even have a video game system of my own. I played video games, but I did not have one of my own. Basically, what age was I? September 26, 1996. I was 7 years old in 96. I would be 8. Yeah, I would be 8 in December, but when the ads came out, I was 7. So I didn't have my own video game system. My parents basically felt like I was too young for it, I guess. That was I really 7? Felt like I was older. Anyway, my parents felt like I was too young for it. I didn't need it. And they wanted me to focus on schoolwork, and I would read books. I read 96. Was Harry Potter out? I don't think so. I think this is before Harry Potter. But I would read Boxcar Children, Goosebumps. All I did was read books. And occasionally I would play video games, but that's when I went over my friend's house. So I had one friend who lived a couple blocks away, and I think he probably had a Super Nintendo, and eventually he got a PlayStation. Timeline, I can't really remember if he had the PlayStation before or after this time, but I remember being over his house watching him play Final Fantasy VII and playing some sports games on it. And then I had a next door neighbor, like literally right next door. And he had a Sega Genesis and a Sega Saturn. And I would go, that's how I play video games. I didn't have anything. I would go over his house after school. He was like a year younger than me. I would go over his house. I would play Sega Genesis, Sonic, Streets of Rage, whatever else. And I'd play Sega Saturn, and that was really awesome. Played Space Jam, Gex. Gex is my all-time favorite Sega Saturn game. I realize it's not a exclusive Sega Saturn game, but we used to play Gex all the time, and we just pass off the controller if it was single player or if it was two player. Like I think we played. What's the game called? It's a movie. We would play Ghostbusters. We would play Ghostbusters, we would play Streets of Rage, like co-op, I think some Power Rangers game. But anyway, I had one friend who had the PlayStation and Super Nintendo, and I had another friend who had Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn. And that's how I got my video game fix at that age. Or playing on the computers at school, Oregon Trail, or Turbo Math. No one ever remembers Turbo Math, but if you remember it, There you go. Anyway, these ads come out. I'm salivating over these ads. Like, think about it. I've played Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. Sega Saturn is more advanced in those two systems, but you've never seen something before like what Super Mario 64 looked like when those ads came out. It's 3D. Now, I mean, now going back, you realize it looks like crap, but back then, you never seen anything like that before. And especially if your only experience playing Super Mario, or Mario, whatever you want to call it, was Super Nintendo, you've never seen anything like that before. So I saw the ad, I was salivating over it. I showed my parents, I'm like, look at this. Look at it. Alright. So that sets it up. Months before the system even came out, I was salivating over it. But I never had a system of my own. I used to go over to my friends' houses. Believe me, I'm glad that he never bought it, but I asked my dad a million times to buy a Sega Saturn. He didn't buy it because I guess he didn't trust me with the discs. He knew that some systems were cartridge based and some systems were disc based, and I guess as like a 7 or 8 year old, he didn't think a disc based system was right, which I don't. Not thankful he didn't buy it for that, but Sega Saturn, nostalgic for it. It was great going over and played it at my friend's house, but it wasn't that great a system. Not that it wasn't good. There weren't good games for it, but like if you were the type of person who can only have one system, or like me, can have no systems, Sega Saturn's not the best one to be your only one. But anyway, salivating over this Nintendo 64 stuff, and eventually, now I'm a kid, so you gotta remember that even though I'm looking at this stuff and thinking, oh my god, I can't wait till this comes out, when the actual release date of the system comes around, there's no internet. Like, there is internet, but I wasn't using it. And, I saw the ads, but I wasn't paying attention to the date and stuff like that. So, when the release date of the system came around, I don't know what's the release date of the system. Or maybe I do and just, not sure. But anyway, when me and my sister were little, my dad used to do this thing where he would go and get gas. And he would ask my sister or he would ask me, do you want to go and get gas with him? Like, basically just, go drive to the gas station, hang out with him, and then he'd buy you, like, a candy bar. So I don't know. Like, I guess that was his way of bonding or something. Like, you go take a ride, you get a candy bar out of it, whatever. So, September 26, 1996. I'll never forget this. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm downstairs watching TV or something, and my dad says, do you want to go get gas in the car with me? And I know if I go, I could probably get a candy bar or something, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Who wants a candy bar? So I'm like, no, I don't want to go. So like 2 or 3 hours later, my dad comes back and he's like, so I went to the store and I was looking. I went to. I'm not gonna edit the laughing out because this is like depressing to me. It says I went to the store and I was looking at the Nintendo 64s. They look pretty cool. I'm like, what? Like, you went to the store and we were looking at Nintendo 64s and you didn't bring me or tell me or what? Like what's going on? He's like, I did ask you if you wanted to go. I just didn't tell you I was going for that. I said I was going to get gas. I'm like, really? That's weak. That's messed up. I don't know what I said to him at that age, but I was disappointed, obviously. And he's like, all right, come on. Let's go back to the store. We'll see if we could pick one up. But now, he asked me at 8 o'clock to go to the store. Now it's like 11, 12 o'clock probably. So we go to the store and guess what? It's sold out, obviously. So, I think we probably went to like a Toys R Us and it was sold out. And then he was like, all right, let's go to Funkoland. So we went, it was a Funkoland back then. Like, that store still exists to this day in that same physical spot, but it's a GameStop. It's a GameStop now. So we went to Funkoland, asked him about the 64s. He's like, no, they're sold out. Probably be sold out for a while. And I'm like heartbroken because I was looking forward to this so much. Didn't get it. Not going to get it. And I guess my dad could tell that I'm upset. So he's like, well, what else do you have? Like, what else could we get? He's like, well, we have used pre-owned Super Nintendos, and there's a whole wall of Super Nintendo games that you could go check out over there. So basically, September 26, 1996, the day the Nintendo 64 came out, I go to Funkoland, and I leave with a used pre-owned Super Nintendo and a pre-owned copy of Super Mario World. And never got the N64, so go home. Dad helps me set up the Super Nintendo. One of my first system, obviously, which is weird because I got it the day the Nintendo 64 came out, but obviously awesome system, has some of the best games that you could ever play. And because I got the system in 1996, a lot of games that, I mean, first of all, because I never played Nintendo as a kid, original Nintendo, and I didn't get Super Nintendo till 96. And my friend who I played with the most had a Sega Genesis and a Sega Saturn. I like never did the Zelda thing or the Mario thing or any of that stuff. Like, just totally went over my head. Never played Zelda, never played Link's Awakening, or, still haven't played it. Probably never will. So I got my Super Nintendo. I played a shitload of Super Mario 64, Street Fighter 2, Super Mario RPG. I actually bought that game for my sister. I looked at the cover, and I was trying to make my sister play video games, and it had Princess Peach on the cover, and I could tell like somehow that you could play as Princess Peach. So I was like, and it was on sale. Like, I had Christmas money or birthday money, and it was like $20 at Toys R Us, which the games were like what, $50 back then, $60 for a Nintendo 64 game. So it was on sale for like $20. I said, let me give this to my sister and see if she'll play it. Never played it. And when I bought it, I honestly didn't know it was an RPG. I had never even played an RPG before. First RPG I played was Super Mario RPG. Second and third, well, second was Pokemon, and third was probably watching my friend play Final Fantasy VII, and on my own playing Final Fantasy IX eventually. A great ton of memories with the Super Nintendo, and eventually I did get a Nintendo 64. I forget when, after, it was with communion money, I forget. Basically, I had my communion, and people gave me a lot of money, and I don't know what happened with all that money, but my dad finally was like, alright, you got money, let's go get you a Nintendo 64. So I remember when I eventually did go get it, I have no idea when it was, how long it was out for. It had to be at least a year, because I know I had only the Super Nintendo for a while. But went to Toys R Us again, got the Nintendo 64, got the only game I got was Star Wars Shadows of the Empire at first, but I loved that game, and eventually I would get more games and I would get into Nintendo 64, but it's just crazy how I could have got it that first day. And I was like, kids, well, I don't know if kids really watch this channel, but it just like shows you that like you need to be more open-minded, and when people, ask you to do something, say yes. Be like Jim Carrey in that movie, say yes. Don't say no. You can miss out on Nintendo 64, you can miss out on something good. And basically, because I never played Nintendo, never played Super Nintendo till the 64 was already out, and didn't get a 64 till it was like a year or two in, probably, I was lost. Like, where all these people have memories about Zelda, Mario, I don't know, Star Fox, all these like classic, like, oh, you've had to have played that game, you've had to play Ocarina of Time, you had to play Majora's Mask. I was just in my own little world where I never played a Nintendo game. The Super Nintendo games I played are not your typical library. The Nintendo 64 games are not your typical library. I never even bought Mario 64. By the time the 64 came out, I bought Shadows of the Empire, and that was the main game that I played for a long time. And then I would basically, like, go and rent games. Like, my mom used to always take me to rent games at Blockbuster. So I would look for cheap They always sold used games too. I would look for cheap used games. So I played a lot of All-Star Baseball, Glover, like fucking games that nobody else played. But I would just look at the used games at Blockbuster and be like, oh, I want that one. I want that one. It's $5, $10, whatever. She said yes. And I never played a lot of classic games that people have played. But this was awkward. This was very nerve-wracking for me. But hopefully I could get back into it. Point, like I said before, is be more open-minded about things. When people ask you to do stuff, just don't say no and be selfish. And, thanks for watching.